Let me ask you a question, Steve. Has anyone ever told you have a positive mental attitude, PMA, which is great throwaway advice, and then you kind of say to them, I'm all ears, how does this work? And that's often where the advice kind of finishes. You just think positively, just have positive thoughts. And well, there's a part of your brain called the R.A.S, the Reticular Activating System. It's part of the reticular formation. And it's kind of like a pencil-shaped sort of part of the brain in the older part, the deeper part of our brain. And it acts as a relay sort of information across all 5 senses. It's the reason why most people have had this experience. You decide to buy a new car, you do a load of research, and you think, you know what, I'm going to get myself a blue Nissan, for instance, and then you start to notice these blue Nissans when you're out driving. Suddenly, you start to think, has everyone decided to buy one of these cars? Yeah. When obviously they haven't. And the reason for this is the R.A.S works like Google, same sort of concept as Google in your brain. You search for things, it goes into Google, and if you search for blue Nissans, what happens is Google gives you loads and loads of websites, loads of pictures, loads of information about these blue Nissans, which makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. But what it does at the same time, it creates a browser history. Your brain's very similar to that, and the brain is always searching for patterns. It's always looking for patterns. And if you've got a brain which is full of searches for blue Nissans, what's going to happen is, as you're driving along, minding your own business or walking, you see these other cars, and every time you see a car which is a red Nissan or an Audi or a BMW, they just pass by, but then the blue Nissan goes and your visual sense goes to it, and then you become aware of it. Mm-hmm. And then you start to think, these cars are everywhere. Now, if you think about the theory of that, the logic of that, if you've got a brain which is full of perhaps negative searches, I hate myself, my life is crap, I hate my job, people are always shitty to me. Yeah. What that does then is it fills your Google in your brain with a browser history of these negative thoughts. Yeah. And then what's going to happen as you're wandering around, things that are good to you are discounted, you don't notice them. But every time you see something which reinforces this belief system, this search, this browser history, it jumps out at you, and then you use it as a piece of evidence. Yeah. So when people start practicing things like gratitude, for a lot of people they go, I don't get why to do it. Why? I don't understand how practicing gratitude is going to make me happier or my mindset better. Yeah. What it does is it starts to reprogram that R.A.S. Because if I say, for instance, I want to choose 2 or 3 things to be grateful for each day, and I want to record them down. To start off with, I'm going to use things like partner, wife, husband, whatever it is, kids, my job that I might be happy with, and I'm going to use fairly obvious things. But I'm going to exhaust that obvious conscious list pretty quickly. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to have to start thinking a little bit more deeper about what I need to be grateful for. Mm. And I'll start to be grateful for things that aren't quite as grandeur, just simple things. But what my brain's going to do throughout the day, because my browser history is now full of searches for things to be grateful for, I'm going to start to look unconsciously for things that are going to jump out, and that's going to add to my list. So my brain very slowly starts to literally rewire itself to notice things to be grateful for instead of things to be not grateful for. Now, does this mean that you never have a bad day? Of course it doesn't. Does this mean that you never feel a little bit down from some days to other days? Of course it doesn't. But what it does is it gives you a mindset which is scanning for the positive and noticing the positive. So one of the things I say to a lot of people I coach, practice gratitude, think consciously about things to be grateful for. And if you do that enough, your unconscious brain will start to search for those things. Change your mindset. Yeah. Make sense? Yeah, it does. Yeah, I've heard similar things before, but not in that kind of detail. But is it the old chimp basketball pass? Yes. Where you kind of you set the intention to people to count the basketball passes, and then they miss the chimp that walks out in front, and that's the same thing, is it? Yeah, exactly. That is the theory of you. Most people have got friends that some friends that say I'm a really lucky person, and then you've got other friends that nothing good ever happens to me. Yeah. Well, probably statistically they have an even amount of good things and bad things that happen to them. But one person's brain is to notice and record the positive things and discount the negative. the other one the opposite. So it's just about putting your focus of attention in the right place, programming your brain consciously to begin with, and then letting it take care of you unconsciously after that.
Yeah, I've tried to, I've done this similar thing with friends and family where I try to get them to practice gratitude. And they might practice it for a few days, but then life's back to being doom and gloom. And that kind of equated to that beaker of water, and if it's full of sludge and you do a little bit of gratitude and that's the pure water, if it's about that much left, they need to keep going until all that's left is that pure water, and then it kind of, like you're saying, reprogramming.
Aristotle, a Greek philosopher, once famously said, excellence is a habit, not an act. So you don't do it once and then you've got it. It's about doing things daily, not big things, and this is what I say to a lot of people I coach, doing easy to apply, simple things, but doing it daily. And then over time it comes just completely unconscious. And then your brain literally rewires itself and you start seeing things differently.
Yeah, definitely. One of the habits I try and do is, before I even get out of bed in the morning, is just preempt how I want my day to go. So if I've got a meeting, how do I want that meeting to go? If I've got to drive, I want to get there on time in good shape. I love it.
Perfect.